It's coming! Sholmes's cry pierced through the thick wall of fog around us. Wisps of vapor flowed over the pistol as I cocked it, and I waited, breathlessly, in the stillness. The silence lasted for what seemed an eternity, until, at last, it appeared. From the shadows of the cloud, an enormous beast sprang out upon us. A hound it was, but not such a hound as any mortal has ever seen. Its eyes glowed with a smoldering glare. The whole of its ox-sized body was outlined in white-hot flames. Its rumbling pant and hideous howl, so terrified was I that I began to tremble with fear. "Look well, Wilson," Sholmes declared, gazing upon the mystical beast. "For this is the diabolical hound of the Baskervilles."
Our first 2 months in London passed by in a flash. In that disconcerting courtroom experience we were first thrown into on the day we arrived in the country, and in Soseki-san's terrible ordeal that had followed closely behind, we had emerged victorious. However, there then came an abrupt end to our opportunities to appear in court. Which was hardly surprising, of course, since I was nothing more than an amateur, an unknown student of law from a faraway land. So life in our little office was very quiet. That is, until it was shattered one day by that fateful telegram. Oh, not all those legal consultancy. I'd love to see it. Oh? That morning, I was woken by the unreserved knocking on the door by the telegram boy. But after he'd gone, Sato-san's behavior became very obviously strange. Sato-san? Yes! Is it time to leave for court already? Do we even have a case? Let me see. What case is it today? I don't think I'm scheduled to defend anyone at the moment, am I? No, of course not. How silly of me. I think Iris said she would make us breakfast this morning. So, shall we go down to Mr. Sholmes' suite? Yes! Iris makes the most delicious breakfast food. She does, doesn't she? And once our bellies are full, we can leave for court right in fit form. Let me see. What case is it today? Here we go again. So, what was it about? The telegram that was delivered this morning, I mean. A telegram? I don't know what you're talking about! You're not gonna get away with that, are you? Well, I didn't think I would. Actually, don't give it a moment's thought. It's nothing interesting. Boring, in fact. It was just a boring old telegram. 3 times now that she's tried and failed to convince me it was nothing. I promise I'll tell you about it at some point. Alright, I understand. So you're in Japan yet, at this rate? I suppose Soseki-san would have arrived back in Japan by now, won't he? Yes, I should think so. He left immediately after that terrible ordeal. Which would mean he should have completed the voyage already. Or be just a few days away. A fortnight ago, we had that very long telegram from him, do you remember? Complaining of seasickness. But by and large, it seems the voyage has been going well. Is something wrong, Naruhodo-san? I was just wondering what might have become of Soseki-san had he stayed in London, that's all. You mean, as regards Lord Von Zieks, the Reaper? Yes. I can't help wondering if seasickness would have paled into significance in that case. Maybe that's part of the curse. While we're on the topic, what is it they say? That no one who stands in the dock can be saved from the Reaper, right? Like the way that nightmarish trial ended on the very day we arrived in London. Even 2 months on, the cause of that dreadful fire is still a mystery. Yes, but at least Soseki-san is safely out of the country now. Presumably that means that the curse of the Reaper can only take effect within the confines of the city of London, perhaps? Even if that's the case, it's a little comfort. I have a terrible sense of foreboding. If the legend of the Reaper is to be believed, it would mean he wields the sword of justice himself. Come to think of it, I wonder what he's been up to these past 2 months. Surely not wielding that sword against more acquitted defendants. No, I don't think so. Apparently, Lord Von Zieks hasn't appeared in court once since our last encounter. Oh? Yes, since Soseki-san's trial. He's withdrawn from judicial service again, it seems. What does he do in the time? Really? Just like before, when he wasn't seen in court at all for several years. So it's just been me who had to face him in his recent spate of trials then. Just my luck. I wonder if luck doesn't come into it. Sorry, what was that? Nothing. Never mind. As much as I would like to explore the office, I'm not sure if I want to keep you waiting, so let's move along, shall we? Morning, Bruno. Morning, Susie. Good morning, Iris. Iris? What is it, Bruno? What is that terrible noise? It sounds like a cat being strangled. Oh, God! You noticed that, did you? Hurley isn't in the best form this morning, it seems. Hello, Mr. Sholmes. Good morning. Good morning. Did I, perhaps? Something happened, Mr. Sholmes. You look miserable. And the way you were playing the violin before. My analytical mind is dead. Music is dead. The world It's all dead. Damn this player's existence! That's all it is, my dear fellow. Nothing of consequence. I'm afraid I don't understand. Well, isn't it time we ate? Some dry toast and insipid coffee for me, if it's not too much trouble. Oh, good to know it's not this cat that got strangled. Oh look, it's Wakahai! Good morning, boy. That must be some sort of tiny door for cats to use. How did it get there? Well then, everyone, time for breakfast. Oh, wonderful. Let me help you, Iris. Indeed, be a fine day to die. First nutsman, now does I? I knew something looked different. Something's missing from Mr. Sholmes's desk. You seem to be very unhappy this morning, Mr. Sholmes. What's happened now? It used to be the case. In my hands, its violin sung like the dawn chorus. Its mellifluent tones would make flowers bloom. It would. But now, the muses are amused with me. The goddesses of music have thrown me over. Whatever do you mean, Mr. Sholmes? Flowers have bowed for days even, and the nights I have endeavoured to no avail. Sound and tone, it's all lost to me. Brilliant, clear, unwavering tone, gone forever. No more recitals on unbridled emotion. Oh, you haven't been practicing much lately, have you, Hurley? Don't worry, I'm sure I'll come back to you in time. Heed my words, Mr. Naruhodo. Goddesses of hearts are fickle. One day they bestow genius on a man, the next they mercifully withdraw it. Oh dear. Ah! Why is this happening to me? If they take the turn I have from the violin from me, what is left, for pity's sake? What is left? I've got to go to the bathroom. Deduction, perhaps? Isn't that what you're known for? What happened to the machine? Mr. Sholmes, I don't like to pry, but your desk looks rather empty today. Well done, Mr. Salter. Your observational skills do you credit. Oh no, Mr. Sholmes, they pale into insignificance when compared to yours. You'd struggle not to notice, wouldn't you? You mean Hurley's great analytoscope? That's at Winterbank's now? Is it on Windybank? No, Winterbank's, the pawnbrokery. What? You mean you've pawned that enormous machine of yours? It's of considerable value, you see. Quite undeservingly. Isn't it a very important machine for your work? Do you wish you had consulted us if your situation had become so desperate? I should have gladly passed what little income I have to you. Dear madam, things are far from desperate. Well, the pawnbroker has your wonderful machine. How can it be anything but desperate? Making use of a pawnbroker is quite ordinary here in London, I assure you. It is. It doesn't sound ordinary at all. It would seem that neither of you fully understand how pawnbroking works. What's to understand exactly? Elucidate! What did you mean when you said we didn't fully understand how pawnbroking works? To the people of London, pawnbrokers are akin to banks. Banks? On Mondays, merchants relinquish their finest jackets and trappings to their pawnbroker of choice. With the money they receive in return, they are able to trade happily through the week. And then on Saturdays, they go to recover their things using the money they've earned. I had no idea. This has been a fascinating lesson for us. Everyone does it, you see, especially people in inner London. And should they have money to spare, they wouldn't purchase another fine jacket. Not to wear, obviously, but to pawn, should the need arise. How ingenious! So whenever we have something that's getting in the way, we leave it at window banks, you see. A pawnbroker can be thought of as an extremely secure vault. Who would have thought even pawnbrokers are different here in Great Britain? You have to watch Hurley with it. Sometimes he pawns things he really shouldn't. Don't you, Hurley? What does it matter? The world is dead to me now. Yeah, about that cat. Mr. Nutsmith's cat seems to have settled into his new home then. Oh yes, and I've become very attached to little Waggy. It would appear his previous owner was completely forgotten to him. Cats are unfeeling creatures. Their mews as empty as the hearts of the muses. Now don't choke the poor thing. If Mr. Nutsmith had no intention of keeping Waggy back to Japan, I wonder why he kept him in the first place. I expect he would have taken him if he could. But pets are strictly forbidden aboard steamships in our experience. For good reason. Terrible things can happen if the rules of passage are not obeyed. Am I such a terrible thing, Mrs. Otto? Well, I don't mind because Waggy is adorable. Yes, it really is. Wait, what about the door? I don't remember seeing that tiny thing in the main door before. Where did that come from? Oh, you noticed? You are observant, Bruno. Look, I use this. It's my latest invention. What is that? I call it the cat flaptomat. Flapomat. course, a door for making... A machine for making doors just for cats? Ahead of your time, dear. That's right. It can make a cat flap for a very little friend like Raggy in seconds. And it can do it on any door at all, no matter what it's made of. It's very powerful, you see. Wouldn't it have been quicker just to make the cat flap rather than making a machine to make the cat flap? Well, yes, maybe. But now I can make cat flaps anywhere I like. Oh, I think it's wonderful. You must make one of for us in the door of our office upstairs, Iris. She really knows how to come up with unconventional inventions, this girl. Keeps changing her voice. Waka-hi! What was that? Waka-hi! What was that? Oh no! Waka-hi's tangled up in your violin! I think he thinks it's a toy! No, what's he doing to it? He just drops his precious violin. Why should I care? What? I shouldn't be surprised. If the cat is a more accomplished musician than I know. Mr. Sholmes really is in poor spirits, isn't he? Well, anyway, I'll put it back where it lives, shall I, Hurley? Out of the cat's reach, if possible. Maybe we should assess the damage. That we shall? Oh dear. Well, it looks fine to me. Is this the one? So this is a violin, is it? This is Stradivarius, one of the finest violins in the world, made by the renowned Italian luthier Antonio Stradivari. See, it doesn't really look like anything special to me. Bit well loved. I happened upon it covered in dust, languishing in a pawn shop down a nondescript back alley. The broker had no idea of its value, so I was able to purchase it for mere 55 shillings. How honourable of you. And until today it has been my faithful companion in every Paganini-inspired performance I've ever made. Paganini, I ask you, is there any reason to live in a world devoid of music to tolerate this blushed existence? No! There is none! Mr. Sholmes. What, dear madam, what? My thoughts are preoccupied with fancies of release from this dull routine. Well, it's about the violin. It looks very different to normal, don't you think? What do you mean, Mr. Suttle? Susie's right! Yes. The tone of the wood is completely different. And that's not all. I'm sure there was no crack here before. It's not even the right size, is it? What's this? I'm terribly sorry to have to tell you this, Mr. Sholmes, but that instrument isn't a violin at all. It did look a bit big. Then what? I believe it's an entirely different instrument called a viola. is keeled over once more. Mr. Sholmes, are you alright? You're right. You are quite right. This isn't my faithful Stradivarius. So what? What pay is this piece of string flotsam? Not your faithful performing partner, then? I see what must have happened. You do, Iris? This is just a simple mix-up. Sounds like Iris might be able to tell us exactly what's happened if we ask her. Iris, get back here. Oh, where'd you go? Get back here. Explain. How do we get Sholmesy out, Hurley out of this mix-up? If I'm not... Oh, hello. But no, mix-up. Tell us. What did you mean by a mix-up, Iris? Oh, you see, this violin... Sorry, this viola, I mean... was at Winterbanks until last week. At the pawnbroker's. Not Mr. Michonne's beloved musical partner. There is a proverb from the East, with which you are no doubt familiar, my dear fellows. Always let a beloved child trouble. Yes, indeed. So you sent your beloved violin to the brokers in the hope that you would experience personal growth? Oh, what a wonderful idea! Last week I pawned my great analytoscope in order to release my precious instrument. But it would appear Mr. Winterbank mistakenly furnished me with this tawdry fiddle instead. But my ears cannot be deceived by the hollow timbre of this piece of timber. No, but your every sense was deceived by the fact that it just had strings. Sure, fine state of affairs this is, and what I always say, Mr. Naruhodo. Never trust a pawnbroker, they will try to fiddle you every time. But earlier you told us that you could think of a pawnbroker as an extremely secure vault. So what happened there? What? Come, Mr. Naruhodo, dilly-dallying will get you nowhere. Neither will moping around. Sorry? Crunching your toast with that vacant aspect. Pressing your coffee so obtusely. Are you not a little embarrassed by your own conduct, considering the urgency with which we are faced? We must visit Mr. Winterbank's brokery at once. That's right, isn't it, Mr. Sholmes? Precisely, Mr. Sato. Without a moment's delay. I've finished my bacon and eggs. My dear fellow, surely you do not still intend to crunch your bacon with an increasingly vacant aspect, to fresh your egg even more obtusely? Alright, say no more. Let's go then. Don't worry, Runa. I'd be happy to heat it up for you again later. Thank you, Iris. As it happens, I am rather curious to see what a British pawnbroker looks like. Post haste! Now that Sholmes is in high spirits. Out on the street. Oh. Jolly good. Jolly good. I thought there was something you wanted me to look at. To the pawnbrokers! On the 15th of April. So, this is a British pawnbrokery. Oh my, there are all sorts of tools and contraptions here that I never laid eyes on before. Sato-san, that spark of wonder in your eyes. You can't wait to scour the shelves, can't you? I get the impression you enjoy places like this. Oh Oh, yes! I don't know why, but seeing such a lot of things I don't understand is really a thrill for me. My dear fellows, let us not forget why we are here. Mr. Sholmes, we are calling on matters of business or pleasure. Clearly, Mr. Sholmes means business too, judging from the spark of fury in his eyes and those active fists. Ah, Mr. Sholmes, sir, welcome back. Did you hear that, Brazenbach? Yes, we are potential customers after all. We are disgruntled customers, Mr. Naruhodo. It is time to inform Mr. Winterbank of our ire. Come! The fight is afoot. Hello, sir. Don't mind the excited detective over there. Naturally, you will recall this, which I retrieved from you some days ago. Yes. This second-rate fiddle is not my faithful instrument, Mr. Winterbank. The colour of wood is different. It has holes in it. It's not even the same size. A wonderful summary of observations, Mr. Sholmes. I'm so very sorry, sir. How utterly unforgivable of me and an inexcusable mistake for a pawnbroker. There is only one way to make amends. Oh, don't shoot us. Don't shoot anyone. I shall have to take my own life. What is this jovial music? I don't think that would be necessary, do you? If we may just say one thing before I pop off. Please don't pop off. Yes? It was you, sir, Mr. Sholmes, who took it upon himself to remove the item the other day. I believe... Sorry. As I recall, I entered the store to fetch a violin when I heard, "Ah, here it is!" You did? And when I turned to controvert you, you'd taken the viola and left, sir. Well, don't shoot yourself then, if that's the case. However, there can be no doubt that the blame lies firmly on my own downfall that allowing you to leave. So I shall not grumble or cause any longer. May this guilt die with me. Oh, stop, my dear fellow. The fault is mine. Okay. Whew. It would appear that the fight is over. I do humbly apologise, Mr. Winterbank. Evidently my questionable disposition precipitated this tragedy. Well, it wouldn't be Mr. Herlock Sholmes without that. Questionable disposition now, would you? I do believe you may be right, sir. It's either laugh or cry, I suppose. You are, it must be said, one of my more challenging customers. I need to remind you of the peculiar collection of items you brought through my door in the past. Peculiar items? Perhaps the huge thing? In the extreme, madam, for example. The unpublished manuscript of an eponymous work. The novels of Herlock Sholmes or some such. A new full-fledged novel? You're not published? A story I've yet to read, you mean? Ah, forgive me! Wait! Before you die! You must tell me more! I must know more! Tell me everything! Wow, Susato-san is really fired up now. Is there really an unpublished story under this very roof? Well, one day the gentleman here brought in an old metal chest, you see. should like to entrust this to your care for a while, Mr. Winterbank. For a chest like that, 1 shilling, sir, not a farthing more. It houses something of very great value indeed. The latest manuscript, recounting the adventures of one Mr. Herlock Sholmes. Myself, I beg your pardon, a manuscript. You wish to deposit a manuscript? Indeed I do, for I am confident it will be quite safe here. And that was that. Such Mr. Sholmes' latest tale of otherworldly mystery lies dormant in my storeroom. Mr. Sholmes, is that really true? Do you sense that someone doesn't want to talk about this? Continue to pay your fee, do I not? And kindly continue to store my belongings securely. Of course, sir, of course. They're safe and sound with me, I assure you, all my life! This is all very strange. I wonder, could I ask you something? Ah, a gentleman from the east, I see. Yes, that sable suit. Suppose I could offer you 6 pence for it. Without wishing to offend, that tone is somewhat dull. Sorry? Ha! But for your splendid attire, madam, 5 guineas, no less. The colours are exquisite, the design exotic, Eastern artistry at its finest, may I say. Don't trip or suffer. Oh my, 5 guineas, you say? How interesting. Why do I feel as though I've suffered some sort of defeat here? Actually, I was hoping to ask you about your business. I've heard it said that pawnbrokeries are used rather like banks here in London. Yes, sir, indeed. Many of my customers utilize the establishment as you described. I appraise their items and offer them a proportionate loan and 2 months of secure stowage. If in that time they repay the original sum to me plus the agreed interest, their items are happily returned. But what happens if they don't pay you the money? Then the items are offered for sale in my shop, as you see on the shelves behind me. So you never sell items before the 2 months has passed then? That's right, madam, that's right. Which means some considerable responsibility rests on my shoulders. Should a customer's precious belongings be lost, the only recompense for me is to end it all. The very idea, Mr. Winterbank, is an absurdity. One should never talk of one's demise so casually. Says the man who was telling us it was a good day to die only this morning. And let us not forget that I have already helped you take measures to ensure such a tragedy never occurs. What sort of measures? I engineered a simple device which Mr. Winterbank has installed here in his shop. I call it the Red-Handed Recorder. Is that not so, Mr. Winterbank? What's that deep sigh about? What on earth is a red-handed recorder? Use your eyes, my dear fellow. There are just 2, just below the ceiling. I can see what appears to be a camera attached to some sort of timing device. Very astute. It is indeed a camera furnished with some 100 pieces of celluloid film. And every 30 minutes precisely, the camera automatically records the appearance of the shop. Every 30 minutes. Here, I have an example I can show you. Ah yes, a print from the camera is set to record the activity at the shop counter. It developed a special type of film so sensitive it produces a crystal clear image even in darkness. Really? It's extraordinary. Yes, you can clearly see the counter and the door behind it. Look! So you see, were someone to enter the premises with ill intent, his identity would be summarily exposed, provided he enters within the 30-minute interval. But did you not say that the photographic prints were taken at 30-minute intervals? Indeed, as you say, my dear madam. Then what if the incident were to occur in between times? One could only say. That would be a cruel twist of fate. I must confess, your devices have been giving me some cause for distress of late. I beg your pardon, Mr. Winterbank. Surely they are anything but distressing. Reassuring is the word. It's the cost of the film, sir. You most graciously placed not one but 2 cameras in my shop after all. Which means I must pay for nigh on 100 utterly useless prints every single day. I'm afraid the cost of film will break me before I'm very much older. Nevertheless, small price to pay to ensure the safety of my preferred pawnbrokery, no? Small, my dear fellows! We verge on an age where safety and security come at a price. Heaven help us. Now then, Mr. Sholmes, allow me to return your precious violin. Ah, the very thing! Thank you, Mr. Winterbank. Perhaps this might mark the end of the peculiar items you try to pop. Because if anything were to happen to one of them, this would be the only answer! I really think you ought to stop waving that gun around. Someone could get hurt. Fear not! Sorry? I've only loaded a single bullet, so no one but myself could possibly be harmed. That's not reassuring. That's really not what I meant. Good day to you then, Mr. Winterbank. It's been a pleasure as always, Mr. Sholmes. So, Mr. Noddlehoddle, now we can explore at last. Snoop, put the gun down. Oh wait, we already... Oh, never mind. Good chatting. Look at that enormous ledger open on the counter there. Mr. Winterbank is, if nothing else, very particular about recording the items he accepts. He'd have to be. Otherwise he'd get himself in all sorts of trouble. Which might explain the thing that catches my eye far more than the ledger. This revolver here. Do not entertain even a single thought of pilfering an article herein, my dear fellow. I assure you, Mr. Winterbank would not hesitate to draw that weapon with a speed in belying his portly size. You don't mean he'd... blow his brains out? Indeed, in recompense for his blunder. Oh my... But in any case, of course, we would never do such a thing. How could you even suggest it? Let's keep away from the gun, shall we? Look at this! What could this lovely big shiny box be? That, my dear madam, is a music box. Surely you have such things in your own country? Oh my, yes, but I've certainly never seen one so large before. Shall we listen a while? What a sublime sound. It's like the music of angels. I've never heard anything like that before in my life. This particular specimen is of the larger variety, commonly found in public houses and restaurants. There is a metal disc inside on which the notes to be played are recorded. Simply by replacing the disc with another, any music you care to imagine can be played. My goodness, what a simply delightful machine! Indeed, though their popularity has waned recently with the development of the gramophone, of course. Science and technology advance at such an overwhelming pace. The Industrial Revolution, I imagine? Or was that earlier? I'm not sure. What assortment of things there are on these shelves here? Crockery, footwear, clocks and watches? Almost anything you care to imagine. Those are forfeited items offered for sale by the pawnbroker. What does that really mean, though? When you pawn, or colloquially, pop, an item, the broker loans you money against its worth. He stores the item for an agreed period of time, after which the loan must be paid. If not, he is free to display it in his shop for sale at a price of his choosing. Now you've explained it, I'm noticing little price tags on everything. Of course, simply by paying the agreed interest on the loan, one can extend the period of safekeeping. So you may pawn that black garb of yours without fear, my dear fellow. Treasured university uniform? Never! And embodies my student spirit! Now what do you suppose this rather enormous machine does? It seems to have two little windows for looking through. Allow me to enlighten you, my dear fellows. What are you looking at is a stereoscope. Fascinating. It is aptly named, I assure you. Looking through the eyepiece and see for yourself. Look! I should be delighted to. Excuse me a moment while I just look. Just before you do, there is something I should point out. You fellows! In order to see the image properly, stereoscopically, as it were, you need to be cross-eyed. However, if that is beyond you, it is of little consequence today. Alright then, I'm going to try it. Ah! Mr. Nonahoodle, you must see at once. Alright then. I need to be cross-eyed, like I'm trying to look at my own nose. If I can do that. Oh my god, ow. You look awfully familiar. What the? I don't believe it. Hold on, can I do it? I can't do it with a finger in front of me. It's just a photographic print, but it seems like you could reach out and touch it. Yes, the sense of depth is startling, is it not? Stereoscopes are one of London's many fine fads. They are often found in little stalls in the park. People queue for hours to see them. Oh, the styes. Why? Why are people meddling with such black magic? Black magic? It's no magic, my dear madam. It is, well, far too complicated to explain at present. We shall save this lesson for another day. Oh. And what of this? Look at this! Whatever could it be used for? I have no idea. There's a small catch just here, look! Going to open it, are we? We're going to open it, aren't we? That's amazing! It's some sort of spring-loaded mechanism. Which we'll never be able to manage to put back to the way it was before. We broke it! What are you two doing? It's nothing! No, nothing at all! Whatever this device is, it seems to have a pair of little windows to look through. I feel as though I've seen something rather similar to this elsewhere. That's not a calendar you could easily miss, is it? 15th of April, today's date. Yes, that's not for sale, I must point out. It's an Eastern-style page-a-day calendar. Every night at midnight, I tear off the page to reveal the following day's date. A late bedtime, I see. The perfect calendar for a tearaway fellow such as yourself, Mr. Winterbank. Who was it who walked out of here with a violin before? Well, when we agreed storage period has passed without repayment, articles are forfeited, you see. So I have to keep a close eye on the date. Something of a pawnbroker's obsession, you might say. Oh yes, I can see you're very dedicated to your job. What, only tuppence for it? That ain't fair, you know it. No, it costs You're worth a penny, miss. I cannot offer more. Sounds like there's an argument brewing over by the counter. Come on, that can't be right. And you ain't even had a proper butcher's at it. You know what I need to see, young girl? Don't you know? I'm sure I recognise her. Yes, it's the young lady from Mr. McGilden's trial 2 months ago. Her name is Gina Lestrade, my lord. She is a chancer and across among large crowds, relieving people of their purses. What's commonly called a pickpocket. You lot! Hello, Miss Lestrade. I hope you've been well. I still have that on you. Well, you remember me then, do ya? I remember being completely surrounded by smoke, that's for sure. So, what are you doing in here? Down and out like the rest of us? Nothing to eat? Come to pop the black weasel coat, have ya? What is it about this black uniform that makes everyone comment on it? It's unsolicited. Oh, good day, unless I'm much mistaken. You would be the young pickpocket who stole our experimental smoke gun launcher. Mr. Shorms! So, you have something of value to pawn, do you? Allow me to see the article and I shall negotiate with Mr. Winterbank on your behalf. Pull the other one, I don't need help from some stuck-up D. Get out of my business, don't want to make trouble for ya. As you wish, Miss Lestrade. I'll happily remove myself from your presence. It's really done it. He's gone. Sorry, but as I said, there really is no room for negotiation here. What's that thing he has in his hand? Some kind of metal disc. And you, go on, leave me alone. Mr. Straight, just pretend we aren't here. We shan't be offended in the slightest. Susato-san can really stand her ground when she wants to. Whatever. Hello. Pawnbroker's customer, are you? Bit nosy we are. Somehow, I didn't really think you were the sort of person who'd use a pawnbroker, Miss Lestrade. Yeah, well, I am, alright. I'm a Londoner, just like everyone else. That's no problem, is it? No, not at all. It's just, well... Oh, I know what you're thinking. The thing probably won't even belong to her. Probably going on the dive, didn't she? Yeah, I can see her rearing all over your Chevy Chase. I might have been thinking something along those lines. Maybe. You're not going to deny it, Mr. Naruhodo. Alright then, I'm just gonna come out and ask you straight. Do you pawn things that you steal from other people? Well, I don't know how best to answer that really. Suppose, sometimes. You're not going to deny it either, Miss Lestrade. Well, not this time, alright, I swear. That thing belongs to me. The disc that Mr. Winterbank is holding. Perhaps we should see what he has to say about all of this. Chat with Mr. Winterbank. Where'd he go? Oh, he just materialized. Hello. Explain. Miss Lestrade's disc, allegedly. Mr. Winterbank, what exactly is this metal disc that Miss Lestrade has brought in? It seems to have hundreds of tiny little bumps on its surface. This is a music disc, you see, for use inside a music box. In a music box? What, you don't even know what a music box is? You Eastern lot ain't too savvy, eh? I know what a music box is, I've just never seen one of these discs before. The small protrusions on the metal disc encode the tune to be played by the music box. You simply insert the disc and set the machine going, and the beautiful music plays. So incredible! Tell us, what tune is on this disc? Well, afraid I couldn't tell you that. There's so many different types of music box, you see. British made, German, Swiss. I've no way of knowing which particular machine this disc was made for. I see. That's it in a nutshell. I wouldn't have any customers for an item like this, even if the young lady forfeited it. Really, I'm already offering more than I should at a penny. That's a packet of lies. He told me he did. He said it was... well... He? Who? Oh, never you mind doing that. It just ain't right, that's all. This was good money, I know it is. Well then, you'll have to try your luck at another pawnbroker's, won't you? Ah! Gina Lestrade herself. She's been in before, of course, this little tatterdemalion. I see. Brought some dubious article or other with her every single time, I might add. Dubious? What are you trying to say? I'm an honest customer, me. So, is there something dubious about the disc she brought in today? Well, if only it were that simple. So, what do you mean? What she actually brought in was a storage ticket. A storage ticket? So, Mr. Straight has actually come to redeem an article from you today, is that right? Yeah, that's right. A girl like me has a lot of stuff what needs storing. Alright, yes, that's definitely dubious. The article in question would have been forfeited at midnight tonight. But as she gave me the ticket for it and repaid both the loan and the interest, I was obliged to return the article to her. But what was that article? Do tell us, Mr. Winterbank. Bit nosy. The little scamper's wearing it, madam. It's the overcoat that she redeemed. Well, what's wrong with that? It fits, don't it? I mean, it's mine, so of course it does. So what about the disc then? How does that come into all of this? The disc is something else. A new article to pawn if the girl and I can agree a price. The new article to pawn? Seriously, I don't know why we're sticking our nose in this, but alright. Totally not going to become important later. I'm confused. I thought you said that Miss Lestrade brought in a storage ticket today. It's really quite simple. Yes, the child brought me a storage ticket and the money owed on it, as you say. For this heavy black coat, which you returned to her care, as I understood it. That's right, yes. But rather unsurprisingly, as soon as little ragamuffin put the thing on, she went rifling through the pockets. You mean... What? Don't you know it's rude to stare at a lady? I see. So it came from the pocket of the overcoat, didn't it? If you mean this disc, then yes, exactly, madam. She immediately tried to pawn it. For quite a high price as well. This is all rather suspicious, I think. Give it up! I'm just trying to pawn something like anyone else would. Mr. Straight, may I ask who deposited the overcoat here in the first place? Oh, well, me. It doesn't really appear to be your size. Me old man! It's me old man's, ain't it? Is it, Miss Lestrade? Yes, this is definitely all rather suspicious.